Welcome back to another episode of TOC Hunting. I'm your host, Thomas O'Connor. Today we're going to be covering blind maintenance both during the hunt and post-hunt teardown of your blind. So jump in while we take a drive over to the blind. We're going to be covering blinds, maintenance of blinds while you're hunting through your season. We're late season, everything's basically closing up at this point. Deer season ended today. Last night, dark would have been the last night. It's now January 1st of 2019. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you into the bush and show you basically what I had as a setup through the season in there. And how to maintain it. Basically, what I've had to do throughout the year with this season, at least with the amount of snow we've been getting. Every time it snowed, I'd have to come up, clean out my blind, make sure it was good to go. Because you'll collapse your blind. Some of these blinds you can spend $300, $400, $500 on. So you want to make sure that you take well care of your blinds through the season. You don't want to invest in an amazing blind and then show up to go hunting and see it on the ground with the poles through the top of it. So last night it snowed about 10 to 15 centimeters roughly through the night and into the morning. So this is a good example to show you guys how if it is mid-November, we did have that much snow this year multiple times through the course of the deer season. So what I'm going to show you is basically how to get out, brush it off, get in there, make sure everything's good to go, because you know we don't want to come in, like I said, and find our blinds laying on the ground. So I'm going to get dressed here while you guys watch me speed this up. Get dressed, get walking in, get these blinds that are in there cleaned up, check our deer cameras, see what's been coming to it while we were doing the whole Christmas break and New Year thing, and that way we can see if we got deer kicking around still for next year. So here we are back to the blind. I'm going to show you guys basics tear down. What I've done previously is making sure that I've got some kind of cover so that when it does snow, you guys aren't having to worry too much. As you can see, I've got very little snow on the top of my blind. That means there's very little weight for those little rods to have to support. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the brush first, make sure that my lower end is not frozen to the ground. If it's frozen to the ground, I'm going to have to get some water thaw it, which is going to be a pain in the butt. If you guys hike in way back in the bush, you might want to think about getting this out if it does rain, if it does thaw and then freeze again, because you're not going to have the ability to haul all kinds of water or drill a hole. If you got a pond somewhere, you might be able to, but you don't want to wreck your tent, and you don't want to have to come every couple snowfalls or every snowfall to deal with your blind. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure it's not frozen to the ground, and if it is, we're going to have to tackle this a different way, and you guys will see how that happens if it is frozen. But like I said, picking a good spot to make sure that you don't have to come in here every snowfall if it's a light snowfall. Last night's, like I said, was 9 inches, 15-20 centimeters in there. That means you need to come in and get it off because it's pretty heavy. You also have to keep in mind different types of snowfalls. If you got a wet snowfall, you need to make sure that that snow is not sticking to it. If it is, more important, because maybe 5 or 10 centimeters is enough to make you come in to deal with your blind. Last night's snow was fairly dry. It was nice fluffy snow, so most of it probably fell, and then with the wind throughout the day today, it probably blew off. So all that being said, I'm going to get to it. A lot of work to get ahead, and we're going to get to it. Remove all this brush, make sure it's all not frozen in, and then go from there. Yeah, this side looks pretty good. Yeah, we got a bit of maybe a bit of an issue here with water and freeze thaw with the snow throughout the season. Oh, so there you go, guys. Prime example as to why you want to knock your snow off. I was trying to get in the door to do that, and it collapsed on me. So this thing was at its max, and all it took was for me to just touch it the right way, and down it went. No need to panic. Most of these collapse like this naturally, and then the sides all buckle in. So if you come in and you see your blind down like this, don't panic. It's probably perfectly fine. You just need to get in there and get some of the snow off gently, and be very careful with your blind, because these poles, like I said, are probably fairly close to being at its max weight capacity for the roof. They're pretty hardy design in these things, so like I said, just be very gentle, scoop it off, and if you can, get inside, pop it back up. Another good trick for you guys to do is, if you can, measure the inside of the tent from the top right to the bottom of your ground. Cut a chunk of wood, bring it with you, and put it in there so you support the center, take some of that weight, so when it does come down, it keeps it from wanting to completely collapse, gives it the opportunity to fall off to the sides. That is another little trick that you can do to make sure your tent doesn't completely collapse. Because once it collapses like this, if you don't get in and deal with it, if you show up and it is like this, and if you would have given it another, say a freeze and a thaw, then a freeze, that can potentially, next snowfall, break your blind. So you want to make sure you get in, definitely check them, clean them up, get rid of all the snow that's on them. So let's get through this here, and that way we don't have an incident. So as you can see, I'm holding on to the blind pole here a wee bit, trying to support it while I'm reaching and pulling the snow off, making sure that I don't do any more damage than might have already been done. I don't think I caused damage there, but we want to make sure that we don't further it. All right, guys, so I'm in here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push it up. Watch. So now that I'm in here and got the door open, what I was trying to do initial, when I first got to the door and initially tried to open it up, is get in here, and all I'm gonna do is lightly push on the fabric, knocking off the excess snow. That way, anything that is there will fall off naturally. If it's stuck on, at this time of year, you're gonna have to get it inside and let it melt and make sure it doesn't become moldy come spring. You don't want to open it up and find mold all over it and it'll stink, then you'll have to get a new blind. So here we go. There was snow that got inside the tent here, and during our thaw period it has become water and then froze. So you can see where the tent goes down. You can see where the tent goes down into the snow and then it kind of just disappears. Well, that's because it's frozen in. So what I'm going to try and do is find a rock or just gently move my hand through here. It looks like it's going to come, and slowly, just gently brush everything away so that I can see what I'm dealing with. Especially in this corner right here, you can see it looks like it's down into the ground and it's had a decent little thaw then freeze on me. So we're gonna pull all this back as possible. This was apparently leaves, and who knows what brought some of this stuff in here. But as I'm trying to do is break all this apart. What you can do, guys, if you're having troubles, you can find a rock, anything at all to break up the ice. That's really all it is. You just want to be careful you don't strike your tent while doing that. So I'm going to keep you guys in the tent here with me for now while I hammer away at this, and we'll try and get you guys a little bit more info on this tent later on. It's a fantastic tent. It's done well for me this year, and yeah, anyway, you just keep watching. Looks like I got that corner freed up, which is awesome. That means I don't have to start trucking water back and forth from the house that we hunt in behind. It's my buddy's house. We don't want to have to go get a four-wheeler and start hauling all kinds of water in here. This will become it'll be a disaster, take hours to get it thawed. So we'll just keep kind of doing it. If that's what you have to do to get your stuff out safely, it is a $300 blind. It's worth the 30-40 minutes to take a four-wheeler and start hauling water back in here, because it's not going to take a whole lot. It's just a pain in the hind end to have to do that. So I'm going to keep working at it. You guys you just do what you do. I'm going to do what I need to do to get this out, and you learn. Okay? Okay guys, so we've made ourselves over to our other property where we're going to be checking on another blind that I know of the gentleman that owns the blind. He and I hunt. He had unfortunate circumstances where he wasn't able to make it out to his blind. So I just want to show you guys what it looks like when you don't properly maintain your blind. So as we're approaching, as you guys can see right now, we are dealing with a blind that is collapsed. It has been snowed on, ice, whatnot. What we want to do is make sure that none of these poles are broken yet before we touch it, because if it is broken, then we got to deal with it a little bit differently. We don't want to wreck the tent. I do believe this is still salvageable. It doesn't look like there's poles sticking out and whatnot. So what we're going to do is very gently remove the snow first before we make our way into, as you can see, the tent door is right here. So what we'll do is come around to this side. We'll start on the far side first. That way we'll just make our way around 360 and take everything off, like I said, very gently. And as you can see, it'll sway and move around. So you don't want to be doing that too much, because when you do that, you have jeopardized the integrity of the poles, and you don't want them to snap because they're probably on the verge of being broken. We'll just remove all this real quick, nice and gentle, nice little scoops. As you can see, there's some ice that's been melted, some thicker stuff right here. So it's been holding up fairly good. Like it doesn't have an entire 2 months worth of buildup. If you can, like I showed you on the other tent, if you can grab a hold, this is a slightly different design, but if you can grab a hold of the tent peg to give it some extra strength, so you're not pushing down on the hubs or on the corners, that's also a Good little tip technique type thing. As you can see, as I lighten the tent, it's trying to resume its position that it was in previously. So if we can get it to the point where we can stand up, this snow's coming off fairly easily right now with the method that we're using. I'm just going to continue with it. The other method that I'd shown you guys before was to open the door and get in and push it up. That was with a very light amount of snow. With this thicker stuff, I'd be afraid, and with the water, the amount of wet snow was on there, you need to be very careful, because I don't think pushing that hub up would have worked. We probably would have broke the poles. So being very careful with this, using this technique in this circumstance when you have a very large amount of wet snow on your tent, it's very important to get it off first before you get in and push the hub that's in the center up. So we only have one more scoop here, one more corner to deal with. So I'm going to find that pole there and just pull it off. As you can see, she's trying to pop up right now, which is a good sign. That means that this gentleman hasn't lost his blind. And then there we go. So now what we'll do is we'll enter inside the tent and finish popping it right up to finish this teardown process. So now that you're inside the tent, like I was showing you on the previous tent, what you do is you take your hand right here and both hands very gently apply pressure and pop it back up into the, watch your back, popping it back up just like that. Now it's time to inspect it. As you can see, there's a bit of a tear right here in the corner from previous ice. I know that was there from the last time I cleaned it off. That's fairly easily repairable with you can just do as simple as duct tape if you really wanted to, or taking it somewhere to get it stitched. You can buy some of those ones that you can iron on and whatnot. You can spray it with some waterproofing spray later on, and your tent is back to pretty well as good as new. So I don't think this tent is at all in any danger of being thrown out. So I think we're pretty good. So as you guys can see right now, I'm putting all of the window flies back up properly so that this thing can actually collapse and not get caught up in anything. So what we'll do is we'll just quickly throw these up, we'll get out, and I don't believe any of this is frozen. Oh, it is. So what I'll do is the method that I showed you before, just run your hands underneath here. As you can see, most of this right here is totally fine. It's in good condition, not frozen. This bag, we'll just remove the bag outside for now. Just setting it here. Running your hand underneath this, just gently pulling on it, and as well as this side, making sure that's all. Then we'll go to the outside and try and dig out the tags in the corner where the tent pegs go in, and we'll just gently pull on that corner, because from the inside I think we will cause damage right now. So right here, I'll just zip this up for a moment. Right here, what I mean is we'll dig this out. As you can see, there's quite a bit of ice build up on the ground. So if I was to be silly and just start yanking on this, we would probably rip the tent. There's a little tag that comes off that you can put your tent pegs through to secure it to the ground. So what we need to do is somehow get that gently thawed, possibly requiring us to go back and get water, dumping it on, and slowly thawing that ice so that we can get it out without ripping the tent. We'll give it a shot before we resort to those methods, but that might be a thing we have to do. Which is fun. So luckily I brought a little bit of water with me. What I'll do is I'll go grab it and we'll try and soften up this ice. I'm sacrificing my water that I was drinking. So what we'll do is we'll gently pour the water into the hole down below that I've dug out. It's not super cold today like it has been in the last several days, so that should start to get down and thaw things out pretty good. As you can see now, I'm able to manipulate the ice a wee bit, which I couldn't do before with my fingers. So conserving, because I only have this Nalgene bottle full, giving it a few moments to basically thaw, and then we'll slowly work that tent out of the ground. Still pretty frozen. So we're going to require a lot more water than what we're going to do. She's frozen there real well. Yeah, she's in there really well. So also an important tip, guys, when you're maintaining your blinds throughout the course of the year, you want to make sure that you come and try and prevent this from happening if you have a lot of snow, thaw, freeze, that sort of thing that's happening right now. So what you should do is come out, get your blind, get it back up on top of the ground if possible. Especially, like I said, we had a lot of rain and freezing rain, snow throughout November, then right into December we had quite a bit of snow again, thaw, freeze, all that kind of thing happening day in, day out. And then you've got a couple inches or 5-6 centimeters of ice there that is fairly thick, and it's not really wanting to let go of this blind. So probably just gonna have to use this whole thing for corners and go home and get more water once we get this corner out. You can also maybe bring salt with you guys too. That might work as well. If it's a super cold day, you're not gonna be able to do this because this water is gonna be frozen. It's about 2 degrees Celsius today, so it's not too bad. Yeah, that's not wanting to come in at all. So difficulties here, guys. Trying to get all this out. What we might do is get a rock, try and chisel some of this away as well before we completely run out of water. So we're going to go searching for a rock in the snow. Okay guys, I was able to find a chunk of wood from, I don't even know where this came from, but I found it laying underneath a tree back in the corner here. So it's got a nail in it. Don't know why that's laying around, but it is. Thankfully today we'll make use of this and dispose of it properly. But what we'll do is just slowly, as most of you know, probably had to chisel something. We'll just try and be careful as best as possible, using the wood as best as we can, as well as the nail. So with all this in mind, we should have probably brought some better tools to be able to deal with this exact circumstance, but I didn't think it would be this bad, to be honest with you. So we'll get her out. Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to untie this string that's attached to it so we're not tripping on it. So over here, I've tied it off to this particular tree earlier in the year when I helped them set it up. Like I said before, doesn't need to be fastened down to the ground as long as you've got weight for these things here. We had some pretty high winds this year. This tent did not move anywhere. Now we had tent pegs in each corner, as well as all these strings. As you can see, we've got another one tied off right over here. May as well undo it as well and get it undone. So what we're going to do is we'll dig this corner out. Hopefully it's not as frozen. I imagine all of them are pretty well frozen stiff into the ground. So what we'll do is dig this thing out. Hopefully we will be in business for an easy extraction of this guy. Yeah, so this one's coming already. There we go. Okay, so boom, tag's out. It's winter time, so don't just set it anywhere. You got a pocket, use it, that's gonna fall out there. So what I'll do is I'll bring it over here and I'll just set that on top of there so we know that that's where that's at. So what we'll do now, guys, is we'll move over to this corner here and we'll get this untied. This might be into an ice block. There we are. Here comes the peg. Nice and easy pull. That one was simple. Gave a little tug and out she came. We've lost the corners, as I said, guys. There should be little tags here. Most of the time to be honest with you, you're hunting in areas that don't really have the ability to put them in the ground. Okay, that should allow us to hold it up. There we go. See how that happens? So you got to make sure that that angle is set up properly. It wants to twist out a square so that it has the ability to fold up. And that's it, guys.